What's going on, Nato Nation? My name is Joey Nato. I am an artist / music producer. If you want to hear some of my music, there's a link in the description below. In this video, we're gonna check out Red Velvet's song Bad Boy, but since I do these music producer reactions, I'm not gonna listen to the actual song. I'm gonna look at the video about how it was broken down on Genius's YouTube channel. So they have a series called Deconstructed, and I did a video like this where I took a look at DJ Swivel's breakdown of BTS's song Euphoria. But I think it would be cool to do the same thing for this song Bad Boy, and I can make comments and maybe reiterate things, because they may explain things in the video, but maybe I could like simplify things how they're explained in the video. I don't know. But anyways, we're gonna check this out. My Patreon is in the description below. Thank you to everybody that's joined that. Alright, Red Velvet, Bad Boy, Deconstructed video. Let's get into it. So let's go.
The chemistry between us is like a 4-tier filter. Having other people that you trust and respect, it just helps drive where that track is going.
A lot of different things that we all have different strengths in that as a collective is bigger than just, making beats and
Oh, I loved it, yo. I loved that Chris Brown album, Fame, man. Which one did they do on Fame?
As a collective is bigger than just, making beats.
Somebody to Love. Okay, for Justin Bieber. Does it say? It doesn't say. They just had part in it, so that's why they have the gold record. Okay.
Beats and being producer.
We're trying to handle the business part of the music business instead of just making beats and then going home.
Cool R&B vibe on this one.
The way we got into K-pop was we were working with a writer out here. It was the first time we worked with him. And he just out of nowhere asked us, have we ever...
Oh, they produced Bruno Mars Finesse. That was a big song, especially when they had Cardi B on the remix there. So that one had a New Jack Swing type of feel to it. This one has pretty smooth R&B type feel, this Bad Boy song. Pretty versatile. And that's kind of what I expect out of, 4 different producers producing together.
He ended up introducing us to his manager, who then connected us over to the record label SM Entertainment.
K-pop's a little different on how we would approach our beats. I think for us, we base a lot of what we make based off feeling. Not to say they don't, but theirs is they know exactly what they want. You know what I mean? They're like, yo, we want exactly this at this tempo. It's very, very structured.
To me, at least,
Oh, that's really interesting. It's kind of intimidating, actually, from a producer standpoint. If I was to get a job producing for a K-pop label and they told me, like, this is exactly what we want know what we want ahead of time before I even start playing something on the keys or before I come up with a drum pattern, they already know what they want to that extent. That's pretty intense. And that just goes into their perfectionist type of style in the K-pop industry.
to me at least, the most important part of a song is melody. That's what's cool about
I think melody is important. I don't know if it's the most important part of the song. I think rhythm is pretty important. Like the kind of bounce that just makes you move while you're moving around. Look at this dude. He's thinking too. He's like, is melody really the most important thing?
K-pop. That's their most important part of the song.
There are different sections that they have, intro, verse. So we kind of make the song with that and all that stuff in mind.
So we show up to SM, and what they usually do before our sessions, they sit us around and they go, hey, this is what we're kind of looking for the group. So yeah, once we broke from that, Jeremy just ran in, he ran into the room.
I like to always start with a progression, and it came to me
When he says progression, he's talking about a chord progression. That's the same way I kind of like to start too, because the chords are going to dictate what key your song is going to be in, at least what the majority of the song is going to be in as far as the key goes. Everything else kind of falls into place after you get your chords down. That's such an important part about the foundation of the beat.
I always start with a progression, and it came to me pretty fast. I don't know. When the sound itself inspires you. One of my
sound
favorite
choices,
synths
everything
is Synth. That's my favorite VST for anything synth oriented. When I was creating that, I remember Ray was in the...
I don't use that, but I do need VSTs. I use Omnisphere is my favorite plugin, or VST, whatever you want to call it, for synthesizers, but I need to definitely step up my synthesizer game, especially if I ever end up doing K-pop production, because if you ever watch my reactions, you know how important and vital synthesizers are in these beats. So he has like a little arpeggiated thing going on here.
In the common area, and the door is cracked, and so I just hear that's dope. And I was like, all right, cool. So I'm on to something.
Yeah.
So that's when Ray got up and came in and was looking for, you know, a lot of percussion stuff.
With the kick, I was trying to find pockets of like not like you wouldn't obviously go, oh, okay, that the kick's gonna hit at this time.
Right.
So you
that's one thing we can always count on is it's not always going to be the most straightforward rhythm with Ray, which is dope.
Okay, I get what they're saying.
Me and Charm were in
It's not a
another room working
predictable drum beat for the kick drum. That's his style. That's how he chooses to do things. That's cool.
on a different song. I heard what they were working on, so in my mind there was this loop that
By the way, they were on that kick drum. They had a little hi-hat underneath it, so it's not just it's tss, tss, it has the hat underneath it.
pull up this one loop and see if it fits.
I like it already.
Once we had that,
I guess that hat and that snare is already pre-made. That rhythm of the hat and the snare is already pre-made. They call it a loop, unless they made that loop themselves. He didn't really mention it, but that's cool. I mean, I use loops sometimes for percussion. Some of the tricky things that are harder to play are sometimes played by real percussionists. So they just have a much more authentic sounding percussion line than I would be able to come up with myself sometimes. So sometimes producers use loops.
that established, we continued on with the bass. In my opinion, Trillion, the quality of their stuff is incredible.
So everything you've
Nice.
heard so far, you've heard the bass line, the drums mostly.
I like that bass line run that they had there.
Drums mostly. That crazy melody that Germ came up with too. And at this point, my job is like, damn, this shit, it's about 80% done. So it needs to fill out a little more.
Mhm.
So I added a pad.
These guys work good as a team together, man. Definitely. See, in a video that I would do, I would have called that a poly synthesizer, but I guess it is a poly synthesizer, but a pad is pretty much, it is a synthesizer. It just has a lot more atmospheric type feel to it because usually the attack is turned up. So that way it has more of a like ease in feel to it, like and the release is usually higher on pads, and this one the release is kind of low, so it's like if the release is low, then it releases quick. I don't know, the sound ends quick. If the release is high, it fades almost. It like vanishes, and then a lot of times some delay and reverb is thrown on the tail end of it just to make it sound even more atmospheric and spacey. Think of pads as spacey, atmospheric synthesizers.
It really outlines the chord.
So you can hear that delay at the very end of that sound a little bit. Delay is pretty much echo, more or less.
It really outlines the chords and the feeling that we want it to feel, which is a good time. We didn't want to make it sound darker. Sometimes when you add something, it weighs the song down. And in this case, it just kept the energy up. It kept it moving forward.
I like that logic.
So typically
I like
we'll
that
start
beat.
with
That's hot.
Making the biggest portion of the song, which is the hook. And then we pick and choose what we take out to create the verse sequence.
Pretty much the hook usually has all the sounds in the beat in it. Pretty much all the sounds that are used in the beat, for the most part. Majority of the sounds are always thrown into the hook because it has to have the most energy, so it has the most life, the most sounds, the most stuff going on. And then, like you said, in the verse, you kind of just pick and choose what you want to take out here, take out there, so there's more room for the main vocals.
And for instance, the down hook or the second part of the pre-hook, and it's going to filter building into what is going to be the post hook or the actual hook. And Ray added a snap. That's basically just to show you something else
Snare
is
roll.
coming. So with that,
That's hot. I like
Ray
that.
added those pianos.
when I played it, I remember Jeremy was turning around like, yo,
They call them pianos. I mean, they're not really piano. I guess they're electric pianos, but with like super low release on them and just really stagnant staccato. I don't like saying stagnant. Staccato, short, clicky type feel, texture to them.
that's dope. So I added that, and he's like, how about we layer it with the octave? And that's exactly what you just heard.
With the bridge, because they're such performance and like dance oriented, we went halftime and we switched up the whole feel of it. I basically just
Halftime, meaning you just you don't change the tempo of the track, but it feels like the tempo has changed, mainly because of the drum pattern is half as fast. So the drum pattern is technically slower, but you don't physically change the tempo in the software.
took the snare loop,
the loop.
and I chopped it. And then I used a different synth and just changed the progression. Yeah.
See, they call that a synth. Yeah, I guess that's a synth, and it's modulated a little bit. It sounds like giving it that like shaky kind of feel to it. Just shake the modulator here. But yeah, but that could be argued that that's a pad too. That's a synthesizer / pad sound, just because of how like atmospheric it sounds. Has some reverb on it too.
Held it.
A lot of seventh chords being played in this one.
And
too.
then just had the bass line follow that.
I think the bridge is meant to take you away from the rest of the feeling of the song, and so you're used to.
That's a great way of putting it.
Verse
Seriously.
verse pre-hook, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh dang, where we going? We're going somewhere else. This is crazy. Blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden we're back.
I went
That's
back
a nice
to 90s
bounce on
R&B.
there.
It's just fun, because especially when they're allowing you to do that. It was pretty tough just being in the States, playing music like that, or music that we grew up listening to, and elements that we loved and would love to incorporate, but it wasn't received well.
In the States, it's not always accepted, and
I've said that too many times in my videos. I don't even need to say it again. It's a box in the States, in America, the Western world, whatever the hell you call it. There's a box, and they try to keep producers and just music in general, especially urban music, in this box. If you're not using these type of sounds, it's not in the box, and it's not allowed. It's not accepted. It sounds out of date. It sounds corny. It doesn't sound modern. It doesn't sound authentic. Not with K-pop. In the K-pop industry, you're free to roam and use different sounds, and it's very accepting of that.
aside from artists like, for instance, like Bruno, but even still, that was taking a chance. It would be difficult to hear this song on the radio in the States. It's very musical, and it has a lot of changes, which in the Korean culture, like he's saying, they thrive off of that. They love musicality.
It felt like we were kids again, allowed to play things that we grew up listening to, and now we're allowed to do it. So that's what made that fun. That was the inspiration behind that.
Oh, I like that. If you guys don't mind, I'm actually gonna go just listen to Red Velvet's song Bad Boy on my own with these headphones. I'm gonna check it out. It's gonna be dope. The production sounds dope. It sounds musical. It has seventh chords, which I really like. It sounds like it had a nice light feel to it, which I really enjoy and do for my own music a lot of times. So I'm gonna check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't got much more to say other than that. And I don't have a cool outro line yet, so I'll just say I appreciate you guys. Nada.
A little bit about that, tell me what about it you wanna know. Used to keep it all on the low, but I'ma take it to the top now. I really feel like it's my shot now.